The wail of police sirens shattered the calm of a quiet afternoon on Maple Street. 2 officers marched up my front porch while I stood frozen, a package clutched in my hands, utterly confused. Across the street, a woman with meticulously styled blonde bob jabbed her finger at me like a prosecutor in court. Her face was twisted with fury. "That's him. That's the thief I told you about," she barked, storming across the pavement. "I saw him stealing that package. He doesn't even live here." The taller officer rested a hand near his holster. My stomach lurched. "Sir, we'll need to see some identification," he said firmly. "We've had multiple reports of package thefts in this area." I glanced down at the box in my arms. My name and address were printed clearly on the shipping label. "This is my package," I said, steadying my voice. "This is my house. I moved in last week." "That's a lie," the woman snapped, her voice shrill enough to rattle windows. "I'm the HOA president, and I know everyone in this neighborhood." In that instant, it clicked. This wasn't some random misunderstanding. This was my official introduction to Karen, the notorious HOA president I'd been warned about. And somehow, within a week of moving to Oakwood Estates, I had already landed squarely in her crosshairs. Oakwood Estates looked like a suburban dream at first glance. Neatly trimmed lawns, cookie-cutter houses, and community rules thicker than a phone book. When I signed the closing papers, my realtor slid me a 3-inch binder labeled Oakwood Estates Homeowners Association Guidelines. The sympathetic look in her eyes had said more than her words. Good luck. Trouble showed up sooner than I expected. On my second day, while unpacking boxes in the driveway, I noticed a woman across the street staring at me, arms crossed, eyes narrowed. She didn't wave, didn't smile, just glared like I'd parked a UFO on her lawn. Hours later, I found an unsigned notice taped to my door. Personal belongings must not be visible from the street for more than 24 hours. I didn't need a signature to know who sent it. The neighborhood, I'd learned, had been on edge for weeks. Packages were vanishing in broad daylight, and residents were restless. Karen had stepped up as self-appointed sheriff, blasting daily updates on the community's social media page and urging people to report suspicious activity. I had scrolled past her posts without much thought, never imagining I'd be branded the villain in her crusade. That afternoon, I received a notification I'd been waiting for. My housewarming gift to myself had arrived. A set of custom coffee mugs. Finally, something fun to unpack after days of kitchenware and towels. I stepped outside, spotted the box neatly waiting on my doormat, and bent to pick it up. That's when I heard the slam of a door across the street. "Hey, stop right there." Karen's voice cut through the air like an alarm. She stormed toward me, phone raised like a weapon, snapping pictures as she went. "I've got you now," she hissed. I knew someone new had to be behind these thefts. I straightened, bewildered. "Excuse me? This is my package. I live here." "A likely story," she sneered, thumbs flying over her phone. "The Pattersons live here. You're definitely not them." Her eyes gleamed like she had just caught a bank robber mid-heist. "The Pattersons moved last month." I explained as calmly as I could. "I bought the house. My name is Michael Chun. Look, this box has my name right on it." I turned the label toward her. She didn't even glance at it. Instead, she pulled her phone to her ear. "I'm calling the police. Don't you dare move." She stepped back, loudly announcing her 911 call for the entire block to hear. "Yes, officers, I've caught the package thief red-handed," she said, her voice carrying like a town crier. Neighbors began drifting outside, drawn by the commotion. Some hovered on their porches. Others gathered at the edge of their lawns. Karen was putting on a full performance, describing me in detail to the dispatcher, gesturing dramatically toward the box in my hands. I stood dumbfounded, clutching my own delivery, wondering how my first week in my supposed dream home had spiraled into this circus. "The police are on their way," Karen announced triumphantly to the growing crowd. "Everyone stay back. He could be dangerous." Karen turned to an elderly couple who had shuffled closer, clearly eager for an audience. "This is exactly why we all need to stay vigilant, Bob, Martha," she declared, her voice sharp with authority. "This is the person who's been stealing our packages. I'm not stealing anything, I said, raising my voice just enough for the growing crowd to hear, careful not to sound combative. This is my house. I just moved in. This package has my name on it. A few neighbors exchanged uncertain glances, but Karen's confidence drowned out their doubts. After all, she wasn't just another neighbor. She was the HOA president. I, on the other hand, was the outsider nobody knew. The flashing lights of a cruiser broke through the crowd's whispers, and Karen practically bounced toward the officers like she'd been waiting for this moment her whole life. 2 officers stepped out, one tall and stern-faced, the other shorter, with a calmer demeanor. Before they could even ask a question, Karen launched into her performance. "Officers, I've been monitoring the situation for weeks," she said with the smug certainty of someone who thought she cracked a high-profile case. "Packages have been disappearing across the neighborhood, and today I caught him red-handed." She thrust her phone forward. "I even took photos of him taking that box. This isn't his house. I know every resident here, and he doesn't belong." The officers approached me with measured caution, their expressions serious. The taller one spoke first. "Sir, we receive a report of package theft. May we see some identification?" My heart hammered in my chest, but I forced myself to stay calm. "Of course, officer. This is a misunderstanding. I moved into this house last week. This package is mine." I reached slowly for my wallet, careful to keep my movements deliberate. "He could have fake ID," Karen snapped. "The real homeowners are the Pattersons. They've lived here for years." The shorter officer gave her a pointed look. "Ma'am, please let us handle this." I handed over my driver's license. "My name is Michael Chun. This is my address. The Pattersons sold me this house. I have the closing documents inside if you need them." The taller officer examined the ID, his brow furrowed. "This address matches," he admitted, "but it doesn't explain the package thefts." "I just moved in," I repeated, trying not to let my frustration slip through. "I don't know anything about missing packages, other than what I've seen on the neighborhood page." Karen shoved her phone between us. "I have pictures of him taking the package. And here, look at this email I sent last week. The description matches him perfectly." She swiped to reveal an HOA alert. A suspicious male in dark clothing had been spotted near deliveries. The tension was suffocating. Neighbors had gathered at the edges of their lawns, whispering, judging. To them, I probably already looked guilty. "Sir," the taller officer said, his hand drifting toward his cuffs, "we're going to need you to come with us to the station to sort this out." A surge of indignation shot through me. "Officers, please, just look at the package." I held it out carefully. "It has my name, Michael Chen, and this exact address. I also have the order confirmation on my phone, and my doorbell camera recorded the delivery." I gestured toward the small black device mounted by my front door. "You can check the footage yourselves." The shorter officer leaned in, inspecting the box. Sure enough, the shipping label bore my name and address. "Can I see that email confirmation?" he asked. Relief flickered through me as I pulled it up. The timestamp matched the delivery, and the order details aligned with the box dimensions. "What about the camera footage?" he asked. "Of course." I opened the app and played the clip. The video showed the delivery driver placing the package on my porch less than 30 minutes earlier, followed by me stepping outside to retrieve it minutes later. The shorter officer nodded, turning to his partner. "Everything checks out. The package is his." Karen's face turned crimson. "That doesn't prove anything. He could have ordered a package just to make it look legitimate, while stealing others. He fits the description in my email." The taller officer sighed, clearly losing patience. "Ma'am, what exactly was the description you sent out?" Karen straightened triumphant. "A man in dark clothing. And look at him. He's wearing a black T-shirt." The officers exchanged a glance, their expressions shifting from suspicion to exasperation. The shorter one cleared his throat. "Ma'am, do you have any actual evidence that this gentleman has stolen packages?" "I'm the HOA president," Karen declared, her voice ringing with false authority, as though her title alone carried the weight of law. "It's my responsibility to protect this community. The theft started right after he moved in. That can't be a coincidence." By now, a larger crowd had gathered, the buzz of murmurs rippling through the neighbors. Doubt was creeping in. An older man stepped forward, his voice calm but firm. "Karen, I think you're mistaken. I saw the moving trucks myself last week. The Pattersons told everyone months ago they were selling." He turned to me with a kind smile. "Sorry about all this, young man. Welcome to the neighborhood." Karen's face twisted, caught between outrage and humiliation. "Don't you all see what's happening?" she snapped. "He's fooled you. Mike, call your wife. She'll confirm the Pattersons would never sell to a—" "Ma'am." The taller officer cut in sharply, his patience gone. "That's enough. You called us here under what appears to be a false report. The evidence is clear. This man lives here and the package belongs to him." "But the thefts?" Karen sputtered. "Filing a false police report is a serious offense." The officer pressed on, his voice firm. "So is interfering with an investigation. I strongly suggest you return to your home. Now." The shorter officer addressed the crowd. "Folks, there's nothing more to see. Please return to your homes." Karen, however, refused to move. Her face cycled through shades of red before she jabbed a trembling finger at me. "The HOA will be reviewing your case, Mr. Chun. We have rules about the kind of people who can live here." "Ma'am," the taller officer interrupted, his tone carrying an unmistakable warning. "That comment borders on harassment. Go home, now, or we'll have a very different conversation." With a final glare sharp enough to cut glass, Karen spun on her heel and stormed back across the street. Her front door slammed with such force that the decorative wreath toppled to the ground. The officers turned back to me, their tone softening. They apologized for the ordeal and assured me the incident would be documented in case of future issues. Once the cruiser pulled away, several neighbors approached me, this time with warm introductions and sympathetic words. Many shared their own stories of Karen's antics, the common theme being, "You weren't the first, and you won't be the last." 3 days later, a formal-looking envelope appeared in my mailbox. Inside was a notice of an emergency HOA board meeting called to address security concerns and recent public disturbances. That meeting was unlike any other. The room was packed. Karen's behavior was the only item on the agenda. After heated discussion, the board voted 6-1 to remove her as president, citing abuse of power and behavior harmful to community trust. But the real shock came when the vice president unveiled footage from another neighbor's security cameras. The videos were undeniable. Karen herself, creeping onto porches when no one was home, snatching packages under the cover of daylight. 3 separate incidents, all caught on tape. The truth unraveled quickly. She hadn't been protecting the neighborhood at all. She had been staging the thefts, fueling paranoia to push for an expensive new security system. A system, it turned out, sold by her brother-in-law's company. Karen's downfall was swift. She was not only stripped of her presidency, but also charged with mail theft, a federal offense carrying up to 5 years in prison, and fines reaching $250,000. When authorities confronted her with the evidence, her defiance finally cracked. Her face went pale, her voice barely a whisper. "But I'm the HOA president. This is my neighborhood." No one responded. For the first time, Karen seemed to grasp what she had lost. Not just her title, but the illusion of power she had built her entire world around.